What is up? How they do? What it do? It is time to motivate with Buddha Bear Talks, the podcast, where this is the favorite podcast where all queer, straight audiences, all in between, come in to be their wonderful, sweet, loving selves. Welcome, welcome. And with my amazing guest today, he needs no introduction. This man's a well-known lecturer, a keynote speaker from around the world, around the globe. You might even see him from a whole bunch of universities because he traveled to every single one of them. And part of the LGBTQI community and speaks up at allyship and civil rights. Yes, give it up to my buddy, Mr. Greg R Baird.
Thank you on this beautiful Saturday that we're recording this. So it's glorious. You both look great. So I'm glad to be here and have a little chat today.
Yes. And we are so looking forward to hearing all the great things from you. We could learn something from you guys, even including because we're always willing to learn. So this is the podcast where we learn so much more every day. So we're just happy to have you.
Thank you. So, I appreciate being here.
Yes. So to get this party started, because we're gonna make everyone feel comfortable, we're gonna we want to give our audience a little bit about who you are, just in case.
Sure. Just in case
they all don't know about you very well, like we both do.
Okay. Well, hello to everybody. I am glad to be here. I live in Chicago. I've been here since 2003, and I moved here from northern Michigan, a beautiful area called Petoskey. It's and everybody from Michigan holds their hand up. They point to their hand where you're from. So I'm from northern Michigan. Not originally. That's kind of my adopted home. My hometown is Emily City, and you sit around with a bunch of gay men usually, and you say you're from the Emily City, they think you're saying Emerald City, like you're from Wicked. So no, I am not from the Emerald City, although that would be kind of cool. But I moved here from Petoskey, where I worked in higher ed for 7 years. I was director of student life and the adjunct theater and acting professor, and doing what I'm doing now, speaking, just part-time. And prior to that, I worked at a world-renowned art school called Interlochen Center for the Arts. And I was the educator on residence life of the junior and senior high school boys. And incidentally, I started their first Gay Straight Alliance, which what came under a lot of scrutiny to do that. So you can talk about that later if you want. But yeah, I moved here, had an offer from an agency that I met during student life. I worked with a lot of different agencies, activities, and I was director of the lecture series. So I had, in the course of 7 years, 3 influential women that influenced me, that kind of pushed me, that are pretty well known. And my agency said, we want to represent you full time, but you need to be near a major airport to fly in and out. So since I've been to Chicago for Light Gay Pride and Market Days, which is in August, I moved here, and it was a challenging move, I have to tell you, because as I always say to people, when you're out trying to save the world, either like a social worker, teacher, what I do, you're not making a lot of money. You don't do it for the money. You're doing it because you believe in the kindness and goodness of people. You want to educate folks, and you want to better the world. And both you know this now more than ever, and your listeners, that we're living in a very challenging time to do that. And I'm experiencing that myself. So other than that, I have my family's deceased except for my older brother. And here's kind of a fun topic, because I love saying this in a lecture. My brother and I are both adopted. We're both adopted from different families. And the kicker of the whole thing, we're both gay. So, and that's it. So my parents won my parents won the homo lotto. So yeah.
That's awesome.
They were too thrilled about it, but I thought it was kind of cool. So yeah.
Yes.
But it also gave you somebody to talk to when the ridiculism come in. It also gave you somebody that understood on both sides.
And we didn't know I didn't know I had a gay brother till like 93. And my brother's very quiet. He's on the other spectrum. I think he's probably a little bit, I don't want to say OCD, but
Like conservative?
like autism. But
Oh, okay. Because I have a son with Asperger's.
slightly, just a little bit. He's a good person, everything, but he's not a public person whatsoever. He's very private. So it makes it kind of a challenge. And we've gotten closer through our parents passing and then talk about what we gave. But the funny thing is, I was working at Interlochen Center for the Arts, and I had planned to go down and see my brother at Christmas time. He lives near Orlando. And I thought, winner, I'm a big Disney. I can go to Disney, Universal, whatever, and see Doug. And he doesn't like any of that stuff. So he goes, oh, yeah, Greg, why don't you come down? We're on the phone. He goes, why don't you come down here? I still remember the conversation. Why don't you come down here and it'll be good for us to hang out. But I just want to let you know that I lead a very private life, and there's some other things, but I'll tell you about that once you get down there. I hate when somebody does that. Like, I got a really good secret. It's like if I told you guys, oh, I got some really juicy or wonderful to tell you, and it was on a Friday, and I said, I'll tell you Monday. Like, oh, hell no. You're going to tell me now. So I was thinking, like, I could either destroy this relationship with my brother by asking him, because he gets you just got to handle him differently. And so I said, well, why don't you tell me now? And I heard a big pause. And you have to understand, I was out before my brother. The more outgoing and everything. So my brother goes, I was probably out, oh my gosh, 4 years prior to that. And my brother goes, well, I'm one too. And
out of all the things you could have come out and said.
I know. And I was floored. Because my dad had brought it up briefly at my grandmother's funeral. I'm not kidding. My dad's got bad timing. My grandma's in the kitchen about 20 feet away, and my stepmother and dad leaned forward in the receiving line of people coming in to go, by the way, we think your brother's gay. And I was about to come out to them. And I thought, mother effer, he's blocking my journey here for a minute with my parents, like it's about me, not about him right now. So it put a bug in my ear. I like, no, there's no way that Doug could be gay. There's no way. And then, I told my mother, not my stepmother, I was staying with my mom locally. And I went home. I go, you wouldn't believe what Dad said. And she goes, what? I said, she said Douglas is gay. And she didn't know about me yet. And she said, oh my gosh, what an awful thing. I'll pray for him. I'm like, well, no, somebody I'm not going to tell for a while. So when my brother goes, he goes, I'm one too. And I did not know, you're going to appreciate this. I didn't know what to say. And I have a really good sense of humor. And I said to him, oh my God, Doug, I don't have a brother. I have a sister. and
no.
I went down to Florida. We were at a holiday party his best friend was throwing. And then we were to go to a gay bar to see this drag queen called Miss P at the Parliament House. No longer there. She passed away. And there was a whole group of people there, and we're talking. First time I hung out with Doug and like his gay friends, and all of a sudden it was like the needle off the record. Somebody like it was like, and his best friend, okay, Queens, we need to ask you, did both of you know that you were gay growing up? I mean, everybody wanted to know. It was quite funny. Like, no, did not know or anything. So, but the rest is history. But that's what happened. My parents were not happy at all, right until my dad probably was my adopted dad, adopted mother. My adopted dad was, and my adopted mother, my stepfather were not. They went to their grave not accepting it. And so, we all have our chosen families and people like that I was so blessed and grateful to have. So.
That's very true. Yes, you're right about that. Because like I would just telling Lauren, like we had an off conversation. I was telling Lauren, like, hey, that's like Lauren's like my chosen family at this point. And she been down with me, as you already know, since high school. Like to the point where I came out at a time where it wasn't as popular. She would be the very first to vouch for me and
Mhm.
because she's seen it firsthand. And I didn't have a sense, and mind you, I didn't have a lot of gay friends either because they were also back at those days scared to come out. We were in the closet.
Sure. Ray, when did you graduate? When did both of you graduate from high school?
I graduated in May of 2003.
Okay.
And I think Lauren graduated later after me, like
Oh, 05.
05. And that's around that time I took a year off to figure out what I wanted to do with my life because I still didn't know what I wanted to do. But I knew in the back of my head, I love food. And I always wanted to be like a performer. But since living in North Carolina at that time, we didn't have that very much valuable resources.
I get that coming from a small area in Michigan.
Yeah, you already know. And living in New Bern at that time, it was like, okay. The only way I was gonna have to do what I had to do, I would have to leave North Carolina. And it was actually my mom was like, okay, since college didn't work out, we're coming back to New York because that's where I'm originally from. We're coming back to New York City and we're going to figure this out together. And that's what happened. And I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to Lauren or anything because that's when we haven't been communicating so long after that.
Right, right.
Yeah.
You know, the thing too about living in Chicago, I always talk like, well, they say, oh, we're out here, it's free, we can be, yeah, you're in a bubble. And when you venture out, you know, when I've traveled for my work and stuff like that, I've met these LGBT groups or these employee resource groups that do have a little support, but a lot of the college universities, when I speak to those different groups, a lot of them are still hiding in classroom. Like they'll have, you know, the program in the lecture hall or auditorium, wherever it be, but then they want to meet afterwards. And it's still a little bit secretive. But here in Chicago, kind of like New York, you have a lot of people from here that come from the Midwest to live here because they want to be free. They want to be able to live a better life, have a lot of options, things like that. So I meet people all the time, you know, from all over the Midwest, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Iowa, all over the place, you know, that have come here because they remember those days like you did. And what it's like, and you know, when you stifle that growth and everything, it's just, when I moved here, it was like, you know, I live right in what they call Boys Town. It's called East Lakeview. But walking hand in hand down the sidewalk and stuff, I just, you know, I see the couple still. I'm like, oh, I want me, you know, I want that to be me, you know. It's just, I'm glad they can do that because it's the younger generation that I see, the Gen Zs, the millennials all over that are having that moment. And I'm glad that I can be part of that to help that for their safety. And, you know, something we really got to look at now more than ever.
Yes. And speaking of like, fast forward to now, you already now fully aware of what's going on. Like we all know.
Yes.
And to those people, to all my wonderful queer folk, my old queer Buddha bears out there that don't feel like they don't have a sense of belonging or a sense of protective community, what advice can you give to them, especially at this hard climate that we're all in right now? What can you say to them?
There's a variety of things. And I think people right now are feeling, especially yesterday, what I watched on the news with our president and the president of the Ukraine, it was horrifying. I think what I suggest to people, be informed, but stay away from the news as much as you can. It's important. But, you know, I have friends that are addicted to CNN or NBC, whatever it may be. And they get really, you know, it gets into your spirit, it gets into your energy, and people, it festers. And
that's why I don't watch that's why I don't watch the news.
Yeah,
I don't watch any of it.
Yeah, that's good, Lauren, because my best friend is consumed with CNN at times. He said, "Oh, I'm getting better." I'm like, "Well, girl, you know, I come over to your apartment and either sports is on or CNN 75% of the time. So we have to take care of ourselves is the answer to your question. Eliminate your news, take care of yourselves, find your community. If you're in remote areas like I was from, reach out to a lot of national organizations and stuff. You can look for those websites on my website, gregrbaird.com, or they can contact me. But you need to connect. You need to have that connection because I think people are feeling lots of aloneness and they don't feel like they matter and they're struggling. They feel like the drowning child in the middle of a lake and no one's reaching out to save them. And we need to have those resources and be there for people. If you have the resources, I would say volunteer once a month for the Trevor Project and feel like you're contributing back because those calls are up more than ever for our LGBTQ plus youth, where you can volunteer once a month on a designated schedule and help somebody and talk to them. I always tell people, you got to have conversations with people. Put the cell phone down and have face-to-face conversations. Our cell phones are great, but that's our new crack cocaine. Everybody's on their phone. We all have these neck problems because we're looking at our phone all the time. Guilty as charged. But we need to talk to one another, have these emotional, mental, physical conversations and learn about one another. One of the greatest disappointments that we have is that we're disconnected. It's a global issue. We're disconnected from one another. And people say, well, Greg, you're wrong. We have all these apps. We got TikTok. We got Blue Sky. We got YouTube. Yeah, those are great to connect and see what people are doing. But I'm talking having a conversation with somebody, even like we're doing now. Small town, you have Zoom. Connect with other people because there's strength and solidarity. What we're going through right now is not the way it's going to be forever. I feel there's going to be a whole dismantling of what's going on negatively with our government in the world. I'm a firm believer in that. But we need to hold it together. We need to rally. There's that old term from the Star Wars, the rise of the resistance. We need to do that.
Yes.
We need to rise up. And, the gay community needs to be, the LGBTQ plus needs to be more accepting of their own community and not go after each other all the time just because maybe you're a little heavy or you look different or you lost your hair or you're aging or you're not 20 some years old anymore. I see these people like, oh my God, I'm old, I'm 30. I'm like, girl, really? I mean, seriously. I'm a proud.
Hold on a minute. So what you're telling me is people are judging what age you can be gay?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It's very youth-oriented.
I'm done.
I'm done. I'm mentally.
You knew I was going to say something about that, right? Because I was like, what? Wait.
Yep.
He's
They
not
are
lying.
judging an age you can be gay.
Yeah.
That's like,
well,
I guess that's like them judging an age that people can get married. Like you'll see a 80-year-old or 65-year-old get married again, and they're like, "You're too old to get married."
It's not an age thing where you can be gay. It's an age thing of what's acceptable that you've hit old age and who do you associate with. It's very youth oriented.
Oh, okay.
If you look at the magazines, you get these buff guys, really attractive women, are beautiful,
right.
gender, non-binary. You got to look at everybody because not everybody's like that, and then we try to emulate that by, overdoing it with Botox and by your lotions and creams and lift this up, lift that, tuck that down,
Tuck that down, lift that up.
Yeah.
That sounds like my 40s. Come on now. That sounds like,
Yo, we about to hit 40. Like, and we still feel youthful and we all look youthful and delicious.
I'm 64 and I'm embracing that.
Right.
Hey, look at
As
you. I know
should.
that's right.
As you should.
You gotta work it. Shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't get gas for it, and that's good. It's just good. It's good ring lighting here. Those of you that can't see.
As you should.
As you should. I ain't mad at that, Greg. I know that's right. Because true, it's like now I'm looking back. I was like this. I said, yo, I was just me and Lawrence having like a little flashback moment when we have our conversations, and I was like, "Yo, Lord, back in those days, like, yo, it ain't as open as it is now. Like, we used to do some dumb stuff, and now look, we older. We like some of us like I get compliments nowadays. They say, I'll tell them like, yo, I'm about to be 40. They was like, no, you not looking 40. I said, because I
Yeah,
take
I get that. Yeah.
Can
I was like,
I need to add something. So where I work at, I look at it. I'm like, was I that stupid? I hope I
mm,
was not that stupid. They're like stuff like that. Like I'm like, I don't, can't
mm-mm.
be that stupid. They can't make it like that anymore. We were the originals.
Yeah.
Like,
The younger folks need to step up. That's, a lot
yeah,
of that are, 40 on up, 50 on up, whatever, that have been around forever and fighting for our rights. It gets exhausting because, my friends call me the professional homo, and I kind of am. I mean, I live every moment. I wake up, I turn on the computer. This is what's going on. I have somebody reach out to me. I love what I do, but we all need to have more people that step up and say, this isn't right. This is what we're doing. We're going to protest. We're going to have a peace march. We're going to bring people together. And I think we've gotten to be real passive,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody's tapped out. We're working to support the high rent. We're working to support the high car payment and stuff. I mean, Lauren, you were talking earlier. You're making so much an hour, but you feel like they want double that for what you're doing.
yeah.
And people are we're living in a very angry, sad world, and what I'm doing, and we need to be better. I want to wake up one day and feel like my community I live in is doing well, because I always say, our government needs to pay attention. Our world needs to pay attention. When you have an accepting, productive community that's embraced, the more productive it's going to be. The more loving, the more accepting, the more you're connected, the more accepting it's going to be. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a journey that I've been on, feels like all my life, but we need to be better humans and better stewards. Um, I just see so many people. I go on TikTok. I have a group chat with a couple of people, and you'll get some idiot come on and say something. There's just people that like to stir the pot up and be negative. And like, what's the purpose of that? You're only hurting yourself. You're not hurting me.
Mm-hmm.
You're not.
Right.
You're not living your truth. You're not living who you are. So just better stewards, better human beings. I don't give a damn, LGBTQ plus, to be a better human. I mean, I do give a damn, but just be a good human. What's your legacy? What is your community that you live in?
Yes. Right. And it's funny. Like I think that's how Lauren and I we were just talking about. Like this is like let's do something we could bring people together. This is why me and Lauren did like we were talking about Trauma Speaks,
Right.
because we want people to come. We're showing people this is what real human beings coincide, live together with both differences, but still come together as a unit, accepting people differences for who they are, not for the sexuality. We just want you to be a decent human being, like you were saying, Greg. It all comes back to it. And this is what we was talking about in After Dark as well. This is what we are about when we come together. We come together, we are a powerful, powerful, powerful group of wonderful, incredible people. Because when we come,
Absolutely. I
because
wanted
once
to
you
share a little story with you, because you kind of sparked my mind a little bit. And I haven't talked about it in a long time,
mm-hmm,
but I always say to somebody, all this non-binary, anti-transgender things are going on, and it's awful. And I tell everybody, if you don't understand somebody, if you don't understand the community, if you don't understand that somebody looks different than you, has different color, different whatever, have a conversation with them, sit down and talk with them. And when I worked at North Central Michigan College from 1996 to 2003, and right around, I'm saying it was probably right around 1999, I taught two classes because I was too busy otherwise with everything else. But I did a survey of the theater Monday and Wednesday from 10 to 11:30, And then, and how I remember this, honey, is a miracle. And then on Monday nights, I did an acting one. And it was, I got students, I got people local in the community, and then something known as dual enrolled. So if the high school students were offered a theater class acting, they could come to the college and take it. And so literally I had students that were 18, 17, 18 to, gosh, 60 something. So it was eclectic. But my friend Patrick worked at the library at the college, and he was quite the character. He lives out in California now, and he ran facilitated a no-kill farm nearby. So it was him and his wife, and they had goats, honey. They had chickens, big horses and stuff. I used to go out there every once in a while. He would pull this stuff where he'd throw feed on the ground, open these doors, and the goats would come out like I was being mobbed. And, I'd come back with fresh eggs and all. So it was great. I could have sold those eggs now for, hundreds of dollars. But
right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it was, I'm getting to a point here in a minute. So they would come over for, like, we do pizza, and my apartment was off the lobby of the residence hall. They would come over, and it was great. So one semester he took my acting one class, and during that class, because I did film some special effects in film before, a couple of films, and I was teaching them general theater makeup for a whole round acting one kind of knowledge. And so I had these desks butt up, and they were doing makeup, just regular straight makeup, foundation, blush, nothing too technical. Well, Patrick was working with somebody, and he whizzed through that makeup on this girl like nobody's business. And I was like, damn, that's almost better than what I showed everybody. And so I asked Patrick, I go, Patrick, how do you know this, how to do this? And he winked. I'm doing this. People can't see me, but he goes, I'll tell you later. He winked at me. I went, what is that about? So, it goes back to my brother telling me I'm one too. So I'm like, oh God, I was dying to know. So class ended. I packed all my crap up. I'm walking across campus. He's with me. And we get into my apartment, and he said, you need to sit down for a minute. I go, what? He goes, I got something I need to tell you. He goes, nobody on this campus knows. And I was like, all right. And you have to understand, Patrick was a big kidder. We joked around all the time. He was funny. And he goes, I want you to know I'm transgender. And I go, get the F out of here. I go, you are not. He goes, I am really. I go, Patrick, I've known you for how long? You've never brought this up. I mean, this is the guy that wears flannel shirts, bib overalls. I never would have guessed at all. And he goes, I was the first case in the state of Michigan for reassignment surgery. And I still didn't believe him. So he lifted up his shirt. I go, how's this? And he had the scarring for the breast reduction. And my jaw dropped. Not because I was ignorant to it or anything. It totally flipped how I viewed him. But then I'm thinking of all this stuff, like, how is he being treated? How, like, are you living in the closet? Are you living? And I go, Patrick. And so he went on the computer, showed me like pictures. And he goes, if you go to the library here on campus, because he grew up in the Petoskey area, if you go out there, you can look. My name is Judy, blah. I'm not going to say the last name. But he goes, you can look at the year in the yearbook, and I'm in there. I'm like, So I hugged him. I said, I love you the same. Nothing changed. It just kind of made your thinking go, a lot of stuff. But I was educated on that. So, of course, the next day, I'm like at the library door, because I want to see that yearbook. And sure enough, he's in there, as a female. He hadn't had.
It's kind of like he embraced his new sexuality.
Yeah. And so I was so proud of him. He ended up going into, wanted to be a police officer, had some bad bigotry happen to him up in northern Michigan. He moved. He's out near San Francisco. He is with a partner, she who is male to female, and they're married. They were at I spoke at this International Law Enforcement Association conference years ago here, and they had Lacey from Cagney and Lacey there. I remember those days, and he was there. He looks fantastic. He's doing well, and so that was my first person face to face that I talked with that I really learned a lot from. And that's when I'm telling everybody, you need to have these conversations with somebody, because it can really change a lot of opinions. You know, I get people like, I don't get it. You know, it's just, they're just doing it for attention. Like, really? So have a conversation with somebody, be accepting. We're all in this together. You know, everybody brings up the Bible and stuff. Well, that's what Jesus would have done. He would have sat down with somebody.
Oh boy, and guess what? Here come the judgment part. And when they do XYZ behind closed doors, the tea don't want to be spilled, like they pick and choose sins.
Correct.
Boy, don't we all know that too well, huh, Lauren? Because baby, whoo, whoo.
Yeah, spilling that tea in the church basement, honey.
Oh, baby, if I spill this lemonade mixture of Sunjoy from Chick-fil-A onto this podcast, whoo, the stories I have, we would be on this thing for over 3 hours. We'll be on this thing for 3 hours, because I've dealt with, it's like, Lauren's my witness. I came across folks, you know me, I'm accepting everyone for who they are. I came across people that would judge me so bad. They're first quick to use that Bible, but then on top of it, they're in the closet. They have a whole bunch of wives and kids, like it's nothing.
Right.
Yep.
So it's like, make yourself make sense.
It's an image. They got to protect that image. They got to give that mother a grandchild. They can't let that father know that they're like that they're bisexual or gay. They can't do that. And you know, millennials, I think, are slow to come out anyway, because the simple fact we were judged, you know, is a very judgmental time.
Right.
It was more like we didn't have a anti-bullying policy. You know, now we got a participation trophy because all the millennials, you know, got so butthurt about stuff. They were like, oh, we have to change that. Well, if you can change it into a participation trophy, and we're in 2025, you can come out, because it's, you know, it's more accepting than it was back then. That they just don't feel comfortable to do it. They're just still going to take it to their, thinking that they can take it to their grave. Who you are is who you are, and you can't change that. Your mindset is your mindset. You like what you like, and you need to accept that. They just don't know how.
My mom had the worst time and was more vocal with me, because I lived in Michigan at the time before I came here, and my brother was in Florida, and my brother just left everything. I mean, after college, he was gone, girl gone. And I came home one time, and, you know, this is the old thinking. And I had, and thank God I had my chosen family with me, but I came home, and I had lost weight at that time. My first attempt, and then the last one was successful. But the first time I got to the door, my mom goes, "Oh, don't kiss me. You might have AIDS." You know, because I had lost weight. Oh, it was horrifying. But I sat down with her without my stepfather in the room, and she said to me, she called me Greggy. She goes, "Greggy, I just want you to sit there. I've been thinking about this whole gay thing, and you know, that thing that you're involved with. You know, like it was a cult.
Thing you're involved with."
Yeah, like in a cult. And she said, my mom was sitting in a lazy boy recliner where she did everything. She goes, "I wrote a list here of the people that I thought molested you, that made you the way that you are." And I looked at her and go, "What?" I go, "Mom, this is not a molestation," you know, because they tie that in with a sexual perversion thing.
Yeah.
And
the trying to find out what they did wrong type of deal.
Yeah. And so my friends, I told this guy, "Oh my God, I would have walked out." I go, "No, I wanted to see whose name was on this list." And she went down the list, and I finally said, "You're crazy." And I go, "I need to ask you a question." And she goes, "Well, what's that?" I go, "Who molested you to make you straight?" And she and she wanted to know. She wanted to know. Yeah, and she wanted to know who.
I thought I was petty as hell. I thought I
was.
Yeah. No, I'm done.
And she said
For-
she wanted to know who the first person I had sex with. And then I said right after that, I go, well, who was that for you? Well, it's none of your business. I go, same for me.
Oh no, that's right. You gave her the Kool-Aid that she threw shade at you.
No, he gave her ice. He gave her ice.
And
he
that
gave
was
her
never
ice.
brought up again.
He
ever
gave her ice. Like, if karma could be words, that was it.
That was perfect.
Yeah.
Like,
Perfect.
my.
If you're up in my grill asking me all this stuff, then if you're making it real, let's lay it down and make it real.
Right.
You know?
Amen.
You know, I'm not going to be cornered and having somebody pointing their finger at me literally and interrogating me like I'm some subhuman being. I don't think anybody should be doing that.
Mm-mm.
I
No.
know that. Yeah. Amen. Chocolate chip for the honey dip.
Yes, there you go. Yep.
I'm just absorbed. I can't go how he just did this. I'm like, holy crap.
He rolled that right off the tongue like it wasn't nobody's business.
Yeah. Really, it gives zero fucks. Excuse me.
That was like that one individual asking me, Ray, about like, what if one of my children came out? And I'm like, that's none of your business either. But I had thoughts to that. Like, that's my business how I handle it. If I'm accepting of Ray, then why wouldn't I be accepting of them? Just because they're biological? No, because that's just who they are. I can't change that. Ultimately, they have to live with it. I just need to be accepting of it.
And Lauren, I tell people, if you're going to be an ally, something I talk a lot about, if you're going to be an ally,
you got to be willing to.
You need to be an ally 100% of the time, not just for you. You know, you need to give up your privilege and your power and allow that for somebody else to grow and also and learn something, you know?
Right.
That's your textbook. That's your textbook to learn. So you need to learn that and be accepting everybody. You know, if somebody does the little inside joke and you laugh, you're like, oh, that's nothing. No, it is. It's something. And, you know, ally could be, there's a whole spectrum of it. You don't need to feel like you need to walk in a gay pride parade if that's not your thing, but you can be an ally 100% of other ways as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the truth.
Amen.
Because there's a lot of people that'll say it but won't do it because actions speak
louder than words.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
Oh yes. I'm loving this. I've just absorbed all this flavor, all the ingredients, all this sauce that Greg just seasoned all over our sauteed wonderful chicken stir fry.
I'm a saucy guy. So
I love it. I'm loving this because I was like, I've been looking forward to this all week. I said, yo, this gentleman right here, you are a force. Like after hearing from you, like you are a force to be reckoned with.
Thank you.
And I'm so appreciative of you, like for you even being on here and sharing some of your lessons. And I can't say enough. Like I wish I had more incredible people just like yourself. And I'm,
well, it's nice to meet other people and have those connections. That's what life's about, right?
Yes.
When you're working with all these folks that you're at, sometimes you want to see them, probably sometimes you don't. But you have friends and connections that you have. Same goes for you, Ray. And that's the beauty of being a human in that experience. And some days can be horrible and shitty, and then some days can be glorious where you're like, man, I had a really grateful day. That was good. You got to find the gratefulness in your day somehow.
I call bad days character building days because there's no such thing.
Positive.
Yeah, I can't stay in a negative mindset. That is not, I cannot be there. I genuinely cannot be there. I will break out on my hands. Like I cannot be in a negative mindset. It's character building days.
A guy that was like that for a while, and he goes, because I walk every day or exercise, and excuse me, he said, he walked to me. He goes, I don't like the sun. I don't like water, like summer. I want to stay inside. I don't like that. After that, I was like, you have just sucked the life out of me, and I can't do it. I can't.
Yeah.
that energy.
And can't is not a word to me, but I can't be around that stuff. I can't be
No,
around negative people.
Yeah, me neither.
Mm-mm.
I usually get this question, but I'll share with you because it's a story that I like sharing. So people say like, why are you speaking? Why are you doing what you do, or what changed that? And I've been speaking since college. I was the token gay guy with my boyfriend to go in the residence hall and talk about LGBT, well, call it gay and lesbian rights at the time. Um, and then I started some gay straight alliances and things. But anyway, when I worked at North Central Michigan College in Northern Michigan, um, I had three influential people that, not to name drop, but they were so important to me. Jeannie White Ginder, who was the mother of Ryan White. You remember Ryan White?
Mm-hmm.
And Judy Shepard, Matthew Shepard's mother, she came to speak. And Dr. Ruth Westheimer. So all have their own unique stories, but Judy Shepard came and spoke in 2000. I'm looking up here on my wall because I have it on my wall here. 2000. In 2000, and in that same year before she spoke, in my college, I went down to Central Michigan University, where I had attended school at. And a lot of people showed up, so they had to move it into a different auditorium. And I had former professors. I was delighted, because I was in the speech and theater department. So they were like, that's our baby up there. Look what he's doing now. And I had people from the community and everything. And it was a great, great lecture. So almost a year later, Judy Shepard comes and speaks at my college. And about 2 weeks after she spoke at my college, she calls me and she said, Greg, I'm going to be speaking at Central Michigan University. And I'm wondering, since you went to school here, do you want to come down and introduce me? I'm like, oh, hell yeah. And she goes, my husband is not going to be here. And will you be my plus one at a reception they're having prior to the lecture? And I'm like, yeah. So I went down there, and it was a PFLAG group that threw her the reception. And it was interesting because my friend David, his mother was the PFLAG mama who started the group. I had not seen her in years. I didn't even know David was gay, but she outed him when she saw me and hugged me. And she goes, oh, David's gay. And he's a twin. He's gay and blah, blah, blah. Like Greg Baird. I did, this whole thing. So it was like a reunion. So anyway, my friend Tim went with me, who was in my theater fraternity at the college. And he wasn't at the reception, but came to the lecture. And he got a seat up in the balcony. And we were in Moore Hall Auditorium, which seats a little over 2,000 people. And this is, mind you, it's only a few years after Matt was killed on the fence in Laramie, Wyoming. Mm-hmm. And so I went out, introduced her. I was so honored. And it was a packed house, standing room only. So I go around the side of the stage, go up the stairs, go up to the balcony, and we're sitting there. And there was a group of college students sitting us with this banner paper. Now they do it differently. I'm talking old school, but they had the paper on the roll. They used to put on the hallways and stuff. And they wrote names on it and messages. And it was probably about, gosh, I don't know, this thing was like maybe 15 feet long. They go, Greg, can you introduce us to Judy after the lecture? I go, absolutely. So during this time, I told Tim that I was thinking about leaving the college to go speaking full time. And I was really sitting on a fence about it. I had been given the offer. I really did not decide until a couple of years later I was going to leave. But, I'm getting great pay, a food program on campus. You know what I'm talking about, Lauren. You get the food program on campus. That's all good. Benefits. And I thought, I'm going to give all this up to go do something I believe in. So it really was on my mind. So lecture happened, at a dry eye in the house. She usually cries. At that time, I'm talking about Matthew. So I'm leading these students downstairs because I'm going against the flow. Everybody's leaving. And I'm going into the theater, and off to the left, this college student, she's probably like 21, 22, red-haired girl, cute as can be, off to the side because I'm going down the middle of the theater. She's off to my left. She's going, Greg, waving at me, Greg. And Tim goes, do you know who that is? I said, I have no clue. who that girl is, but she's nice, she's cute. She was really adamant about wanting to say hello to me. She was like, Greg, and I go, like, your viewers can't see this, but I was pointing up toward the front of the stage. I go, I'm going up front with these students, meet me up front. So she was going around people and everything to get up to the front. I'm dodging people with these students. There's probably, I don't know how many of them, maybe 10. So I introduced them to Judy with the banner paper and stuff. And, they were showing her everything we wrote. And so I come around the front row and this girl goes, oh my God. She was exhausted. She goes, oh my God, Greg. I go, yeah. She goes, oh, I just wanted to say hello. I go, well, thank you. She goes, it was really great seeing you introduce Judy. I go, well, thank you. I was really honored. And she goes, you were here a year ago, weren't you? And I said, yes, I was. She goes, I knew it was you. She goes, I always said if I ever saw you again, I would say hello. And I go, well, thank you for saying hello. And she goes, well, I'm not finished yet. And I go, oh, okay, I'm sorry. And she goes, well, I was at your lecture a year ago. And I go, oh, well, thank you for attending that. It's great. She goes, I loved it. I go, well, thank you so much. And she goes, I wasn't really going to come to your lecture at all, but I saw the flyer up and I thought I'd come and it was just wonderful. And I thought the next time I see you, I'm going to tell you, thank you. And it's great seeing you. I go, well, I'm so glad you did. I go, well, have a good night. She goes, I'm not finished yet. And Tim was standing next to me. He says, will you let her talk? I'm like, I am, And she goes, well, there's something I didn't tell you. She goes, I was in my dorm room the night that your lecture was happening, and I was leaving with my backpack. I saw the flyer on the door, and she said, I thought, what do I have to lose? She goes, I was on my way out anyway, and I thought I'd go. She goes, but what I did not tell you is I left 2 maps to my roommates on where they would find my body because I was going to go kill myself. And when she was saying this in front of me, I like the sound completely was gone all around me from everybody, from all the chaos around me in the theater. And I was looking right at her and she goes, I came to your lecture. She goes, I had all my belongings that I wanted me to find by my body, my backpack. I listened to you. She goes, and I talked a lot about coming out back then. This is, 2000, right around 2000. And because my story is pretty unique about coming out. And she goes, I know you said to have like a backup plan and have support. She goes, I didn't have that. I didn't listen to you. She goes, but after that lecture, I was so motivated. My parents live about 45 minutes away. I went directly home and I told my parents that I was gay. And you know what? They love me just the same. And she goes, and this girl that I've been dating, this older girl that I was in a relationship with, I kicked her to the curb. I said, atta girl. And she goes, and you know what? I'm graduating in a month. And I always said, if I ever saw you again, I wanted to say, thank you for saving my life. I have never in my lifetime had anybody tell me that. And it was like the good Lord of the universe opened up and said, listen, here's your moment. And so I hugged her. I said, thank you so much. I was in tears. Tim was a puddle on the floor. He looked over at me before I hugged her and he goes, if that doesn't tell you, excuse me, if that doesn't tell you what you should be doing for the rest of your life, you're a dumb son of a bitch. I hugged her. She did a little skip kind of thing. Off she went, never saw her again. And that was the moment that changed my whole course of everything. And it was a blessing. And that was, we have these knocks on our door that tells us certain things, and we often, just as human beings, we pan it off, we don't listen to it. We need to listen to more of those messages because that really turned my life around and it was just amazing. I mean, and I've had conversations with people since then about changing their life or being a mentor that I'm just so blessed with. And, my agent even put in perspective, like, Greg, you've had these people come up to you, but just think of the ones that haven't said anything. So, and it's like your podcast, think about the people you've reached out to that may have not said anything, but really got something out of it.
Mm-hmm. You're right. And that's so encouraging because look at what you're doing now and you're changing people's lives every single day, one day at a time. through every lecture you've been doing, and for you to even like pop up on here with both of us, like I'm just like I'm grateful, appreciative. Like that's how I'm appreciative of Lauren for doing this with me, because and to all my other people that have been like alongside with me, I'm so thankful for them every single day, because to be honest with you, I took a break from the podcast. Like I took a little mental break.
Right.
And I was just like, what am I doing this for? And I was literally in the back of my mind, because I was telling Lauren this, and I said, Lauren, I was like, yo, I don't know why I'm doing this for. I'm just trying to see if I can help someone else best way I can. I may not be giving any other like no hits or nothing, but I'm just hoping someone will listen. And then when you popped up and listened to my stuff, I was just like, holy crap. Okay.
Mekahani ho.
Yes. I was like, holy crap. And I'm like, Lauren, this guy hit me up. This guy's hitting me up.
I told him, I said, oh, somebody's always watching, somebody's always listening. They may not click on it automatically, like on YouTube and stuff or anything like that, but you can actually look through reels and see a live, and you can actually watch it without participating in the live, like clicking on it or whatever, watch live. I've done that. And, don't think somebody's always watching.
Yep. And you got to remember that
you're
always impacting or doing something positive. We all get frustrated. I get frustrated. There's been times when I had a school one time try to sabotage a lecture. I was there. People that were in charge when I was down in Macon County, Georgia. That was interesting.
Of course.
Yeah. But I mean, we have discouraging things. I mean, look at what's going on. So you just got to be the better person and stand up and have your mental health stuff. What you did was great. We all have our mental health challenges and things. It's frustrating, like now, it's like I'm fighting for these lecture gigs and doing my program now. And I had to change all the dialogue from the DEI stuff. They call it empathetic leadership, the LGBTQ. It's just, we need to not back off what we're doing, because there's somebody out there you're going to change the life of and make the world better. I run into people, not to boast, but Facebook, my friends say, oh my God, you got over 5,000 people. Like, yeah, but I don't count the numbers like that. I mean, there's actually people that, either from summer camps I worked at that are older now, that were such a blessing, schools I taught at, lecture programs that still want to connect. Because, I put these positive quotes out on Facebook and these goofy videos 3 times a week. It's like a little mini movie kind of thing. But, I like it. And, maybe I only get 200 hits on a YouTube. And, and then I see these people who are wearing, muscle shirts and gray sweatpants that are getting 20,000. So go figure. What's important? You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what's important, yeah.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You can't give up. You cannot.
And it's so easy right now. And if we give up, what's going to happen? Who's going to win?
No one. And how we gonna make an impact?
Right.
You're right about that. And I'm like, oh boy.
I have an idea, but it's not appropriate right now. I always think, and Ray knows how I am, I'll think of something that's not appropriate. It's just because you said something about a muscle shirt gets 20,000 likes, and I was thinking, well, we can all be like, old and in thongs, and then change the world on our ass and take a picture.
That'd be dope.
I mean, they want to be vulgar. We can't.
We can't do. What's stopping? We can do that.
Sit here and I think it's
change the world. It could be change Uranus.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I wasn't joking. What you said is a good point, but I was thinking it popped in my brain of just like
do Do you know I did a vlog? I was talking about this when I did my vlog just this past week. There is something that happens here right before Christmas at Sidetrack, our main gay bar, and they do the Sexy Santa Speedo Run, and so they raise money for the Center on Halsted.
I've seen that. They got one for underwear too, but it
Yeah.
raises money for something.
And it's like an
Yeah.
annual thing, but they raised the most ever this year. When I film that, I know already when I post that, the amount of hits I'm going to get is going to be through the roof. And
Right.
and yeah, I know because sex and disasters and cooking stuff sells.
It does.
It really does.
He said sex and disasters. I wasn't expecting the disaster part to come out, but there it is.
Yeah.
It's the
So,
truth.
you know, unless you're buying the earwax removal thing too, you know, all this crazy stuff that's on there. But when I posted that on the speed,
Yeah.
all running out, and I filmed them, and I had a little music bed, and I was like, turn the camera on, I was going, oh hey, wow, you know, kind of thing. People were all up in that. I had hundreds, I think a couple thousand hits on that. I'm like, see, it's just so typical.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It so is. And it just dawned on me. I was like, so we need to get literally what I was thinking in my head. I was like, so we all need thongs on, change the world,
Yeah.
and
And
That's
transforming it one flavor at a time.
You get Ray in some gray sweatpants, you know,
yeah.
that kind of. See, I'm
And
not
like when you said that, that's literally what came to mind. I literally wasn't joking what you said. I literally was agreeing with it, but it just came to mind. I was like, so if we do this,
we're gonna get one
monster now, you know.
what, changing one rear at a time? Is that what we're doing? Like,
changing one flavor at a time too. Because we all got different nice flavors. We're all part of the tasty Skittles of the rainbow ice cream.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I love using food analogies. It helps my mind go through. It helps the brain going. Oh boy, Lauren, anything you want to ask Mr. Greg?
No, not at this time.
Oh,
I probably will later. Nothing came to mind.
No worries. Well, you guys, that concludes this wonderful, amazing episode with Mr. Greg Baird, the amazing lecturer. Thank you so much for coming to our wonderful podcast. And if you guys want to follow Mr. Greg, he has all his wonderful, follow him on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. He's all around. Follow him.
Thank you. Please do. I would love that. Any feedback, anything, connect, and let's keep our connection, you two. We can always come up with talk about something else another time if you want. So.
Oh yes, you are definitely coming back. Yes, you are. I love doing that. We're gonna have so much fun.
And Ray, don't be discouraged. You know, you took a mental health break, and that's fantastic. Just think about the people that don't do that that never come back, or think they're not good enough, or think they have those ghosts and that bad energy. But both of you are doing well. You know, we all have our moments. So keep plugging away and doing what you're doing.
I will. Thank you so much, Greg. I appreciate that so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you for your time. I'm glad it worked out.
Yes, I'm so happy this worked out. I'm so happy. So, you guys, this concludes it. Until the next episode, we will see y'all next time. It's time to motivate. Later, y'all. Peace.